In this video for lesson 4.2, we'll review the three methods for finding the least common multiple and also how to create equivalent fractions by raising and lowering terms. So for the least common multiple, the first method is to find the common multiples, and in this example we'll look at 6 and 9, and then from there we'll find the least common multiple. If you are using your reference sheet, you'll have all of your numbers filled out for 6s and for 9s. And then what you can do is you can take a look at that reference sheet and find the lowest number that they both make. So I'm just filling out my multiples of 9. And you're going to see that you have a few multiples that are matching here. So we have 18 that are common, 36 are common, and 54 are common. The lowest common multiple or least common multiple is 18. Now, if you have strong multiplication facts, you're not going to be using this sheet. So what you do is you count up from each of these numbers. So you create the multiples either in your head or on paper. I'm starting with 9 first because it's the larger number. So what that usually means is I don't have to count as many to realize the least common multiple. So I'm going to go up by 9. So 9, 18, 27, 36, and at this point I know 36 and 6 are going to be common to each other, but actually if I start to count up by 6s, I can quickly realize that 18 is the first number that is common. So either of these methods, looking at your multiplication sheet or counting up either in your mind or on paper, will lead you to the least common multiple. And this method works very well. It's a method we use a lot when raising the terms for fractions. If the numbers are small and are basic fact numbers, then method 1 works well. But if the numbers are larger, you may want to go to one of the other two methods. Method 2 uses factor trees. So what you're going to do is set up 6 and 8 if you want the least common multiple, and then you're going to factorize them. So you're going to set up your factor trees and find all your prime factors. I'm going to circle them when I make my factor tree, and then it's time to make the decision as to which factors you will take. So what we do for a general rule is we're not allowed to repeat factors between the two numbers, and we take the greatest number that we see. So for example, under the 6 you have a 2 and a 3, and under the 8 you have 3 2s. Because the 8 has 3 2s, you're going to take all 3 of those, but not the 2 with the 6. So you're not going to repeat between the two numbers. And because the 6 has a 3, you're going to take that one, because the 8 does not have a 3. So the lowest common multiple of 6 and 8 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And if we calculate that, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. So to show that again, over on the side here with 6 and 8, we're going to take all of these 2's under the 8, which means we do not take the 2 under the 6, and we're going to take the 3 under the 6. Giving us the lowest common multiple of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, or 2 cubed times 3, which is 24. With 9 and 12, we can prime factorize them. So 9 is the result of 3 times 3. 12, we can do 6 times 2 and then break down the 6. And then again, we're going to compare and look and see which ones we need to take. Under the 9, we have 2 3's, but under the 12, we only have 1 3. So we're going to take these 2 3's and not this one. And then under the 12, we're going to take both of those 2's. And to show that over here, we're going to take these two 2s and these two 3s. Because there are more of them under 9, we will not take this 3 under the 12. So the least common multiple of 9 and 12 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And then we calculate 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. So the least common multiple is 36. This third alternative method is not in your book, but it's a really good one when you have 3 numbers. Sometimes you might even have 4 numbers. So I'm going to take 10, 12, and 20. I'm going to write them, and I'm going to put kind of a half box around them. And what I'm going to be doing is dividing by 2s first until I can't anymore, then by 3s, then by 5s, and lastly by 7. So I'm really prime factorizing 3 numbers at once. So first I'm going to put a 2 outside, and I'm going to divide each number by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so I put the answer directly below. And 20 divided by 2 is 10, and I put that answer directly below the 20. Now I'm ready to divide again, so I draw second half box, and I'm going to continue to divide by 2, even though some of the numbers are not divisible by 2. So 5 cannot divide by 2, so I just copy down the 5. If it cannot divide, I just bring it down and go to the next number. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That row is done, so I'm ready to divide again. Now none of the numbers 5, 3, or 5 are divisible by 2, so I go ahead to the next number, which is 3, and one of them is divisible by 3. 5 is not, but 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 5 is not, so I copy it down. I'm ready to divide again. Now all that I can divide by is 5, so I'm going to do that. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 is not, so I just copy it down. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. When your last row has all 1s, you are finished. And then your lowest common multiple is going to be the result of the multiplication of the numbers you have written on the side. So that's going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. So let's calculate that. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 5 is 60. So the lowest common multiple of 10, 12, and 20 is 60. In Module 3, we worked hard at lowering the terms or writing our answer in lowest terms. Now we're going to be rewriting fractions in higher terms and sometimes in lower terms. What we're going to do is look at where our denominators are both present. So we have 4 and 12. And so we're going to ask ourselves, what did we multiply by 4 to make 12? And we multiplied 4 times 3 to make 12. And because we're raising the terms, we have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So 4 times 3 makes 12, so then I multiply 3 times 3, which is 9. So now I have 2 fractions that are equal to one another. One is in lower terms and one is in higher terms. So let's find the value of the blank area to make equivalent fractions. So 6 and 12, I have to multiply 6 times 2 to make 12. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 2. That will give me 8 over 12. For number 2, I have a 6 and a 3. Now I'm going down. So this time I'm going to be dividing. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. So I'm going to do the same in the numerator. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm lowering the terms. 4/6 down to 2/3. For number 3, I'm going from 25 to 100. So this time I'm going bigger, so I'm going to be multiplying. 25 times 4 gives 100. So I'm going to do the same in the numerator. 5 times 4 is 20. And for number 4, I'm lowering the terms. I'm going down from 25 to 5, so I'm dividing. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so 5 divided by 5 is 1.